Basic Tees here, and today I'm going to show you how I transformed this one size fits most unisex onesie and made it my very own. My husband and I like to go out to parties and wear costumes, and there's an annual groundhog prom where I live, and it's usually on the 1st of February. And this year I was a lion and my husband was a lion tamer. The theme for the party was circus. This is what my original onesie looked like. I'm adding eyeballs and 2 different contrasting plush furs. Cut the pants to your length and make sure the sides match up. I discarded the leg cuffs. Follow the same crotch line when cutting. Make sure everything's tucked in nice and tight on the fold. Mark where you want your crotch line to be so you know where to end that rotary cut. Just copy the line of the original sewn edge. Open the fold and there are your legs. Find the pieces with the snaps and the back crotch and put them together and put a pin in it. Sew with a serger or a straight stitch from one edge where you cut all the way to the other. Sew over the original serger stitch and make sure you reinforce the crotch piece. Sew a square at the bottom of the snaps to reinforce this high stress area. When making a pattern piece, take advantage of an already straight edge. I'm covering the outside snaps and there's a 1/4 inch overhang. Draw the lines of your pattern piece by feeling where the transition of the fabric is. Don't forget to peek underneath, just in case you need to check and see if you're still on track. If you need to fix your pattern, just tape more paper onto it. Wrapping paper is slippery to work with. Cut out your pattern piece with your rotary cutter or scissors. Make sure the pattern piece fits and make any adjustments. Place your pattern on the fur. Using a Sharpie, trace all the way around the pattern piece. When cutting fur, start with a little snip and then cut as close to the inside of that fabric as you possibly can. You don't want to cut the fur. I have sewn 1/4 inch overhang to the wrong side of the fabric and folded it over. You're going to want to sew down this side also, so pin it where you want to sew it. When sewing fur, you want to part it like your hair and sew it in between that part. The fur will hide your seams. This is where I've sewn in between the part. We're going to use the same pattern piece for the other side. I've folded it in so not to cover the snaps. Make any fold adjustments that are needed. Pin it so you have the correct fold. Outline the other pattern piece. You can also make corrections to your pattern using a Sharpie mark. Make sure that the right sides are together. I had to do this twice. You're going to pin this piece to the side of the snap. Pin it all the way down, making sure to tuck the fur in before you pin. Cut off any pieces if it doesn't line up correctly. I've sewn this all the way down. After opening the sewn pieces, pin the other side down. If the fur doesn't line up correctly, just cut it off. When you're finished pinning it down, sew it in place. I snipped a hole in the middle of the eye and pushed the eyeball through, then added the eye backing. These are the pattern pieces I made for a fluffier mane. I marked that these pattern pieces would be on a fold. After adjusting the mane placement, pin it down where you want to sew. I thought about using a glue gun instead of sewing the pieces down, but I decided that I wanted to have a costume that I could wear for years. Make sure you're not pinning both sides together. Flip the hood over and pin down the other side. Sew the fur down and part where needed. This pattern piece is for the contrast fur that goes on the other side of the ear. I didn't have to part the longer fur because of the way the fur lied down, but I did sew it very close to the edge. Pin it down on both sides of the hood. When you're done pinning it in place, you can sew it with a straight stitch or use a glue gun. When making the arm and leg cuff pattern, place it on a fold. I used a pen instead of a Sharpie this time, so not to mark my fabric. I hemmed the arms and legs of the onesie 1/2 inch. The arm and leg cuff will be very similar. The leg one will just be wider. I'm using the arm cuff as a template for the slight curve at the top and bottom. Cut 2 fur cuffs for the arms and 2 for the legs. I also cut out a contrast fur for the arm cuffs and the leg cuffs. I ran out of time and motivation to add that contrast fur. For both the arm cuffs and the leg cuffs, you're going to fold and sew it along the edge. Using almost a 1/4 inch seam allowance, turn the right side of the fabric out and make sure that the direction of the fur goes downward. Slip the bottom of the legs and arms through the fur, lining them up with the fur so it's not so itchy. Pin it all the way around so it doesn't move when you sew. Make sure both inside seams are aligned with each other. Complete the step for both the arms and both the legs. When you're finished pinning, I decided that hand sewing was the best way to attach the arm and leg cuffs. This is what the outside looks like after I have hand sewn it. And this is the inside. For the tail, I added a tiny piece of contrast fur. I hope you've enjoyed this fun little tutorial. And you can make your onesie your very own by adding little embellishments or making it fit you. If you like what I'm dishing out, go ahead and subscribe. You can check me out at basictees.com, where I sell my custom PDF sewing patterns, and basicteesboutique.com, that's connected to my Etsy store. And until next time, stay sexy. Bye.